there, and welcome back to another of Mrs. Patnell's Phonics. These phonics sessions are made for my class, but you're welcome to join in even if you're not in my class. We've just finished phase 2, and we are just trying to consolidate phase 2, to go back over it again and really practice what we already know at this period when we're at home and we're home learning, before we attempt to move on and learn the new sounds at phase 3. So let's crack on with today. As I start every single phonics lesson, particularly at this point when we've just finished phase 2, we're going through every flashcard with all the amazing sounds that you learned in class before Christmas, all the different phase 2 sounds, and I don't want you to forget those, so that's why we're going to start every lesson with those flashcards. So we have k, which is at the ends of words or the ends of syllables. We have, with our bat first and then our ball, it's b. Ooh. Now I forgot to say, shout them out to the camera and I'll give you a little chance to say it before I do. Ooh. These is 2 of them, but making only one ooh sound still at the ends of words or the ends of syllables. S. Even though there's 2, just the one sound, and usually at the ends of words or the ends of syllables. Remember, these are cursive ones here, so if you're looking at those and don't get them, that's because you've not been doing cursive in your classroom like my class have. But this is the f sound. Even though there's 2 of them, just one f sound, and usually at the ends of words or ends of syllables when there's 2 of them. Just one by itself. E. Mm. R. K. K. Mm. G. O. T. I. D. A. A. Well done if you got all of those right. Pat yourself on the back. Okay, so that's all the sounds we already know. Now, I think probably what I'm going to do on my plan next is to have a go at practicing writing some of those phase 2 sounds so we don't forget how to pick up our pens and go ahead and write them down. So, I'm going to give my board a right rub here. If you have a whiteboard at home, that's fantastic. If not, feel free to use felt tip pens and paper. That's absolutely fine. Make sure you're leaning on something quite hard, like a book or something, because it will help your writing better, or sitting at a table is even better. So, let's see what we can revisit my class that we have tackled phase 2. Can you revisit writing the ooh sound, okay? So not the one at the ends of words and syllables, just the single ooh that normally comes at the beginning of words, the ooh sound. What does it look like? It's nice and easy. You can pause the video while you have a think about it or write it yourself, but I'm going to do it with you now. So we start at the bottom. If you're writing it cursively, as we always do with every cursive letter, we whoosh up tall. It's a very tall letter. Back down the same line and a hook at the bottom to finish. And that's our cursive ooh. There you go. If you're doing non-cursive at home in your class, you probably use just at the top and a little hook at the bottom. But my class, the cursive ooh. Well done if you got it right. Next, I would like you to revisit. Let's go with the k, as in the curly k. So pause the video now while you write your own curly k. You can write it a few times if you want to. I will certainly not mind. But I'm going to go for it with you now. So the curly k, we always start at the bottom with every cursive letter. We whoosh up and start to curve because it's curly. We come back round the curve and we finish with a curve that way at the bottom. So that's our curly K. If you're doing it non-cursively, you'll just start at the top and go round to the bottom. But my class, stick with your cursive curly K. Okay, well done. Fantastic if you got that right. Let's also revisit, let's do a, now remember, is tall, so don't give it a tiny stick because it will look like an and we're not doing a we're doing a, so nice and tall. Pause the video now so you can write your own on your board or paper. But now I'm going to do it with you. So I start at the bottom with every cursive letter and I'm going to whoosh up very tall, come back down the same line to the bottom straight here, go up halfway and then start to arch over and a flicky foot to finish. And that should be the, my line on my board, that should be the that you have cursively written on your board. If you're not doing cursive in your class, you'll start at the top, come down, go up halfway over, and you might have a little flicky foot to finish, okay? But my class do the cursive H. Well done if you got that right. Don't worry if you didn't, just keep practicing it after this video. Last one, let's do a B, a B. Okay, now with B, you must remember, because we get confused with D sometimes, that you must do the straight tall bat first and then the round ball afterwards, okay? So, pause the video to have a go at doing your B, but I'm going to do it with you now. Start at the bottom and cursively whoosh up tall, come back down the same line, go back up halfway. Look how similar that is to the H we just did. But when you come over, you're going to do a more of a circle shape and meet at the bottom of your stick. Don't forget to come to the very bottom to do that, otherwise it starts to look a bit like a P. And then we're going to tickle the bottom belly like that to do your cursive B. Okay, so that's your B. If you're doing the non-cursive, you would start at the top, you'd go down, go halfway up, come round and do your ball, but you wouldn't tickle the belly to finish, okay? But in my class, I want you to do the B like that, okay, your cursive B. Well done if you got it right. Remember that B is tricky, but do remember back first and then the round ball. Okay, I want to go through some of the tricky words that we learnt at phase 2. Now, if we were in school, we'd probably be on phonics play and going through our tricky word trucks and we get to do it really fast. We got down to about, I don't know, 19 seconds, I think, before Christmas in my class, and we did fantastically well. But I haven't got that with me today. I've just got some printed out ones of the tricky words. So I'm going to come over towards the camera so you can see them a little better. And I'm going to flip through these tricky words and I want you to call them out to the screen. If you need to pause the camera at any point because they're a bit tricky and you want to think about them, then quickly press pause while you think about it, but I'll give you a little time before I say the answer, before I flash through to the next one. So this one here, what tricky word is this? Don't forget these are in your book bag words at home if you're in my class. So this is I, the tricky word I, like I am going to the circus. Next one, have a look at this one. I'll give you a minute to think about it. Pause the video if you want to think about it. This is the tricky word, the. It's just tricking you there. You have to remember to poke your tongue out to say the. So it's not with a V sound and it's not with a D sound. It's the with your tongue poking out. I'm going to bring my face down and go the. Look at my tongue poking out, the. Okay. And our next one. Next tricky word. This bit is helping you, the first sound, so think what sound he makes, but this little one here is being tricky. So we have got to. I am going to the shops. This one, same again. The first sound, which is very often the way, is helping us, so that's making the sound we know from our phonics lessons, but this one is being a bit tricky. So you know what sound this is making, and this is being tricky. What is our word? Pause it if you want to think about it. But this is no, no, no. Our next one is a word you can break into 2 parts, really, because it has 2 syllables, 2 beats to it. So the first one, they're all helping you. In. And then this part we recognise from the word we had just now. Helping you, tricking you. So all in all, we've got into. I am going into the shops. And this one here, we have got a helpful letter helping you at the beginning and tricking you here. So this is making its usual sound and this is being tricky. So we have got go. Well done if you got those tricky words right. Fantastic. Now in my class you've got all these at home. So do get them out at least once, maybe twice a day and have a practice of these. Because they're tricky, it's so much easier to just know what they are rather than trying to blend them to read them because parts of them are being tricky. So it's a good idea to get to know those just by looking at them quickly. Right, now I want to move on to having a go at reading, blending the sounds we know to read words. So I have a little game here where you, and if I lower my camera a little, can point to the pictures that you see on the screen. So if I lay them out like this, so you can clearly see them all. Okay, so those are our pictures, and I have 5 words in my hands. I'm going to show a word to the camera. I want you to get out your phoneme flicky fingers like we do in my class. So for every sound, I want a finger up, and you be thinking what sound it makes, and then squeeze them together, blend them together to read the whole word, okay? So, my first one, and I'm going to put sound buttons on these as well to help you out a little, at least for the first couple anyway. So, I've got 5 pictures here. I hope you can see them clearly. I've got a sack, just like Father Christmas might fill with toys. I've got a baby's bed, which is a cot. I've got a pan, a bit like my silly saucepan. I've got a lady here, and I think she is having a run. And I've got a bucket. Okay, so they are my 5 pictures. So my first word, I'm going to put my sound buttons underneath, which lets you know that you need a sound for every one that's above the button, okay? So, first sound, second sound, third sound. If you know them yourself, just say them out loud and then blend them together. You can pause the video to have a look at this. If I hold it still, pause the video to read it before I give you the answer. But now I'm going to give you the answer. So we have got p, a, n, p, a, n, p, an. It's a pan. Can you spot the pan down here? Can you point to it on the screen? Where is the pan? And there it is, my pan. So pan, they go together. Let's put those 2 over there. Okay, my next word is this one here. I'm going to put the sound buttons underneath. So I've got one there, but then this one is a sound cradle. So although it's a long line, it means it's 2 letters, but making one sound, which we call a digraph. So there's 2 letters, but they're together making one sound, okay? So we have got this word here. We know there's 3 sounds we need to work out and blend back together to read the word. So my first one, and you can pause the video now if you want to do it by yourself, which I know many of you can, okay? But I'm going to go through it with you now. First sound is S. Next sound is A. And last sound, 2 letters together on the end of a word, is K. S-A-K. S-A-K. It is a sack. So we remembered we saw our Father Christmas sack. There it is. We put those 2 together. Probably being too quick to allow you to point to the right picture. Okay, my next one up. Let's put the sound buttons on. 1, 2, 3 single sounds, no digraphs in this word, okay? So we have, I'll pause the video if you want to have a go yourself, but I'm going to go through it with you now. We have K, O, T, K, O, T, K, O, T. It is a cot. Point to the one you can see in the picture if you can see it clearly there. A cot is a baby's bed, so you should be pointing to this one. There we go, a cot. Right, we've got only 2 left. It's getting easier now to pick out the picture. So I'm going to go with this one next. Now I'm going to put my sound buttons on for you. 1, 2. This is one sound, but 2 letters making one sound, a digraph. and another 2 on the end. This one is such a long word, it has 2 syllables to the word. So I'm going to cover up the second syllable so you can work on one at a time and not be worried about looking at such a long word. So that's the first syllable, and that is the second syllable, okay? So if you're at home, you can pause the video and have a go by covering up like I just did. So covering up the second syllable, and then covering up the other one so you can read to the end of the word, okay? But we're going to do it together now. We have, if we do that first syllable, we have b, a, k, b-uck, buck. And then the second syllable is et, et. So b-uck, et, b-uck, et. It is, which one? A bucket. There it is. Fantastic. Which must mean that these two go together. But let's just have a look at our last one. It has 1, 2, 3 sound buttons. Pause it if you want to read this word, but I'm going to go through it now. We have r, a, n, run, run. It is run, which of course does go with our last picture of the lady having a run. There we are. Fantastic reading of single words there. Now, I've got a couple of these that I want to leave you with. Now, if you feel like that was quite a stretch for you doing those 3 words, then that's fine. You can stop the lesson here if you want to. But just so that I can stretch you a little bit, I want to pop these ones as a possibility on the table as well, okay? So I've got some pictures here, 3 pictures that I'm going to lay out on the table, okay? So those are my 3 pictures. I'll just show them a little closer to you. So there's this one here, and there is this one here, and then my last one is this one here, okay? So there's my 3 pictures. Now I'm going to show you one of these sentences, and I want you to pause the video because you'll need to take your time because it's the whole sentence, and I want you to read it, and then I'll unpause the video and you can have a go at pointing to the one you think it is, and then I'll go through it with you in case you want to check your answer or if you were struggling a little bit, okay? So I'm going to show you first of all this one here. Okay, so this is your first sentence. Pause the video so that you can have a go at reading that sentence, okay? Now, I'm going to move it out of the way, so if you want to actually point to a picture that you think is the right answer, if you've had a go at doing it yourself at home, you can point to it now. And now I'm going to go through it so you can check if you were right. Okay, so we have on our first word, sock, socks, 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 on, socks, on, a, mat, 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 socks on a mat. So if you were pointing to a picture, hopefully you went with this one, socks on a mat. So those two go together. That's that sentence describing that picture. Let's do one more because it'll be too easy afterwards because we'll only have 1 picture left. Let's go for this one here. So I'm going to put this onto the camera, okay? And then, without the light in the way, you can pause this video now and have a go at reading the whole of that sentence, okay? But then, I want you to then give you a chance now to point to the one that you think is the right answer that matches your sentence. But now I'm going to go through it, okay? So, you have on, top, on top of. So it sounds like it should be off, but it's not off. It's being slightly tricky here. This is making more of a v sound. So of. On top of. This is one of our tricky words from earlier where we had to poke our tongue out to do it, and it was the. So it's just that tricky word you have to know because it's trying to trick us. And the last one, rock, 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 on top of the rock. So you should have picked this one here. Fantastic. Okay, right then. So that's a nice bit of reading we've done for this lesson. So we are going to meet up again tomorrow, and excuse me a second, we are going to meet up again tomorrow to deal with a next step in our phase 2, and we'll be doing some more reading and some more writing. So hopefully this is helping you at home with your home learning, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.